We are still following that breaking news from Novi. Cooking or smoking believed to have started a fire there. This is at the Residence Inn. Earlier this morning, the hotel had to be evacuated, but at this hour, we're told the guests are back in their rooms. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the investigation continues.
And in stories to watch for, we expect to learn more as an 8th grade teacher in Dearborn is under investigation for alleged racist and insensitive remarks made to Muslim students. The teacher claims that it was a misunderstanding. That teacher is currently on administrative leave.
This morning, a man continues to recover after being shot by Detroit police during a homicide investigation. It happened Thursday in River Rouge. Police saying that the man pulled a gun when they approached his van. State police are handling the investigation.
We expect an update from investigators regarding a suspicious fire at a home on Whitaker and Moulin in southwest Detroit. 5 firefighters were injured and 2 remain in the hospital, one with severe burns.
All right, well, we've got some big trouble over on I-75 this morning. Northbound lanes of I-75 currently closed at 14 Mile, and the southbound lanes right in that same area, only 1 lane getting by. Definitely want to avoid this area. Use Woodward instead. Brandon.
All right, look at these numbers, 40s and low 50s outside your door, and where we're seeing some clearer skies, a little cooler up north, but clouds will keep coming at us through the first half of the day, so upper 50s to near 60, may get a drip in the thumb. That should be about it.
In today's Talker, the Downtown Detroit Partnership and DTE Energy set to debut Cider in the City this weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
Look what we have here.
Yeah, the event will run every Saturday for, well, it's at Beacon Park, and it's going to run every Saturday for the next 5 weeks from 1 to 5 in the afternoon.
Not bad.
It will feature Blake's Cider and also donuts that we're featuring for you right here. A fall farm stand, horse-drawn hay rides, and more.
What's in there?
And we do want to thank Blake's because they were kind enough to drop us off.
Take a look.
A few samples.
Oh, a few?
Wow.
We are all set for like a
But again,
long
it's
time.
at Beacon Park, which we know is right next to DTE Energy and the
Beautiful
downtown
park.
Yeah, it really is.
But just a wonderful gathering place.
These are my favorite.
This will be my
What is
first
this?
cider donut of the season.
All right.
Really? Wow.
Compliments
I haven't-
of Blake's.
Yes.
We were talking about it in August. That's pretty
They've made it easy.
I know, right?
You don't have to head up to
Yeah.
wherever with the
All
whole
right.
family. Just
Jason, are
head
you
to
partaking
Beacon
or
Park.
did you overdo it for your birthday
I
yesterday?
had 3 cakes yesterday.
Good for you.
Bill Knapp's, Sanders Bumpy Cake, and then the one in the morning.
Oh my God.
What's going on today on Live in the D?
I'm sure you got food there too.
Cider? Anybody?
Here's what's coming up on Live in the D. We are celebrating National Pizza Month by heading downtown, see what's new at this Detroit pizzeria where they're putting a spin on an old favorite. This also happens to be one of Greg Russell's favorite spots, our movie guy, plus Billy Bob Thornton. Ooh.
Kim and I are sharing to cut back on
Yeah,
calories.
that's a good, great idea.
This is so good. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
Support Focus Hope and join people from all walks of life at Eleanor's March for Hope presented by WDIV Locals 4 on October 13th. Register at focushope.edu/March.
Finally, your blank canvas can look like a feature in a design show with Gardner White's Urban Outlet. Choose from designer-curated rooms or build your own. Check this out. All 8 pieces, including the tables, lamps, and rug, only $8.99. The competition charges hundreds more. Or change things up to show your style. Plus, with no interest and no down payment, your favorite is just $10 a month. The possibilities are endless. Don't overpay. I mean, you could, but wouldn't it be nice if your friends just thought you did? Find your steal at the Urban Outlet inside Gardner White.
Enough with mouthwash that burns. In fact, most mouthwashes contain more alcohol than you think, but Colgate mouthwash is alcohol-free and kills 99% of germs without the burn. Colgate Total, mouthwash with no burn.
Wherever you go, go confidently with the benefit of Blue. Medicare Advantage plans from Blue Cross give you all the things you need to feel completely cool in every situation. Want your free guide to Medicare? It's yours. Call now to get your copy and the peace of mind that comes from understanding your coverage options. There's no obligation. Want to keep your doctor? You got it. Blue Cross has the largest network of doctors and hospitals across the country. And Blue Cross Medicare Advantage plans start as low as $0 per month. Don't wait. Medicare's enrollment period ends December 7th. So call now and get the information you need with this free guide to Medicare. Do you have the confidence that comes with a Medicare Advantage plan from Blue Cross? You will. when you choose Blue Cross. Wherever you go, go confidently. That's the benefit of Blue.
Are you looking to save money on your mortgage or lower your payment? Well, now could be the time. With rates at their lowest point of the year. Call 248-308-5000, or you can chat with us online at davidhallmortgage.com.
Getting a better bed doesn't mean breaking the bank. Introducing Renovo mattresses, rolled up and boxed exclusively for Gardner White, shipped to you free. Now, a good night's sleep is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Choose from 4 gel memory foam mattresses designed to wick away heat and reduce tossing and turning with performance-tested Certa Pure US foam. Pick the size you need, twin or full. Now just $199, shipped absolutely free. You don't have to overpay. Buy in-store or online today, only at Gardner White.
Good morning. In plain sight, President Trump on camera asks yet another foreign country to investigate his political enemies.
China should start an investigation into the Bidens.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the impeachment case is now open and shut.
The president has confessed to his violation of his oath of office right there, then and there, so that don't need too much inquiry.
And just in overnight, the bombshell text messages appearing to show top Trump administration officials pressuring Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden. Just ahead, why the president says there's nothing wrong with his actions. We're live at the White House. Sounding the alarm, the CDC ratchets up its warnings about that mysterious vaping illness sweeping the country.
An outbreak of this magnitude that doesn't show any sign of slowing down is of great concern.
More than 1,000 people now sickened or killed. Just ahead, the new clue on what could be the cause. Massive payout. The major casino hotel that just agreed to pay nearly $1 billion to victims of the Las Vegas massacre. What survivors are saying 2 years after the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. All that plus today exclusive, a rare and revealing look inside China's secret detention camps.
Tell me that it isn't brutal to take a mother away from her 4-year-old daughter when her father has just died.
Emotional return. Amanda Knox getting candid about her trip back to the place where she was tried and imprisoned.
I still have people who send me messages describing how they're going to murder me.
And nail biter, an epic game between the Seahawks and Rams comes down to one final play.
Zerline missed it.
The winner decided by mere inches. Today, Friday, October 4th, 2019.
From NBC News, this is Today with Savannah Guthrie and Hoda Kotb. Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Today on a Friday morning. You know who's ready for Friday?
Who?
That huge crowd outside.
Everybody outside. By the way, we have a beautiful crowd out there. I don't know if they're here for Taylor Swift, who's going to be on SNL on Saturday, but they are out in force. And we're going to get out in a minute and say, hey.
Yeah, but a lot of fast-moving developments to tell you about just overnight in the impeachment inquiry. Things have intensified after the president publicly called on another country, China, to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden. He did it on camera. And overnight, we're also seeing new text messages turned over to Congress by the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine. They appear to show the administration putting pressure on Ukraine to investigate Biden with the promise of a White House visit hanging over all of it. And this is coming as the White House plans to send a letter to Speaker Pelosi as soon as today, asking her to hold a full House vote on impeachment right away. We've got complete coverage. We'll start with NBC White House correspondent Kristen Welker at her post at the White House. Kristen, good morning.
Savannah, good morning to you. A lot of fast-moving developments on this Friday, and President Trump is taking a defiant new stance this morning against House Democrats. A source familiar with the thinking here telling NBC News overnight the White House, as you say, is planning to send that letter to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi as soon as today, saying they won't turn over any documents despite demands until the House officially votes to formally open an impeachment inquiry. President Trump doubling down in the face of a widening impeachment probe. On Thursday, he publicly called on Ukraine to investigate his political rival, Joe Biden, and then surprised many when he said China should do the same.
And by the way, likewise, China should start an investigation into the Bidens, because what happened in China is just about as bad as what happened with Ukraine.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi arguing the president's remarks amounting to a confession.
The president has confessed to his violation of his oath of office right there, then and there, so that don't need too much inquiry.
President Trump calling Hunter Biden's business dealings in China crooked, pointing to a 2013 trip when he joined then Vice President Biden aboard Air Force Two on an official trip to Beijing. In a strongly worded late-night tweet, Mr. Trump writing, "I have an absolute right, perhaps even a duty, to investigate or have investigated corruption, and that would include asking or suggesting other countries to help us out." The Biden campaign calling the president's allegations of wrongdoing a dismantled conspiracy theory, and arguing the president's calls to foreign leaders are equivalent to this moment from 2016.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Meanwhile, overnight, a potential bombshell in the form of text messages. The House Intelligence Committee, which is leading the impeachment inquiry against President Trump, releasing the texts, which were handed over by former special envoy to Ukraine, Kurt Volker. He spent 9 hours Thursday testifying behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. The texts show U.S. ambassadors pressing Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden, even signaling a meeting between the president of Ukraine and President Trump was contingent on those investigations, and raising the issue of a delay in military aid. In one of the text exchanges, the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine writes to a group of other American diplomats, "I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign." A colleague responding, "The president has been crystal clear, no quid pro quos of any kind," adding later, "I suggest we stop the back and forth by text." Now, in a statement released overnight, the chairman of 3 key House committees writing, "This is not normal or acceptable. It is unethical, unpatriotic, and wrong." Here's the bottom line, Savannah. It appears to no longer be a debate over what the president did, but about whether Congress thinks it's okay for a president to ask a foreign power to investigate a political rival. Savannah.
All right, Kristen, thank you so much. And that question sets up nicely our next guest, Elise Jordan, a former White House and State Department official in the Bush administration, now a political analyst for NBC News. Elise, good morning to you. So what about it? Because it isn't exactly a whodunit anymore. The president just did it on camera. He just asked China, as well as Ukraine, to investigate his political enemy. Is that okay? I mean, he's saying, look, I'm asking another country to help me ferret out corruption.
It was a historic moment. The president of the United States on the White House lawn asking for a foreign government to intervene, 2 foreign governments to intervene in the American election. And that is a crime. Donald Trump did it in front of everyone. And the theory being that I put it out there. What I actually did in private maybe isn't going to matter as much since it's out there now publicly. But at the end of the day, it's a pretty huge deal and goes against the very precedent and sanctity of American elections being free and fair, you know, and away from foreign intervention.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's just go back to first principles. I mean, why, just to even ask the question, why is it not good for American national security to ask foreign countries to help you go against your political rival?
It's an abuse of power. Donald Trump is seeking to withhold security assistance from the American taxpayers, security assistance that Congress, his administration has agreed is necessary for America and America's own national security, because he wants political intelligence on a political rival. That is abusing his power for his own personal interest.
All right, Elise Jordan, thank you very much. Extraordinary times. We appreciate it. Hoda, over to you.
All right, another major story this morning, America's vaping epidemic. There is an alarming new report from the CDC on that mysterious lung disease. It shows a startling rise in confirmed or probable cases, now more than 1,000 in 48 states. NBC's Tom Costello has the very latest. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Hi, Hoda. This is really distressing. Reports of hundreds of more people becoming sick as a result of vaping in just the last week. And with the number of deaths now at 19, health authorities are warning it may only be the tip of the iceberg. The numbers are alarming, revealing the true extent of the vaping crisis spreading across the country. The CDC says more than 1,000 Americans have now become sick or died because of illnesses linked to vaping, most of them under the age of 35. Nearly every state has reported a confirmed or probable case, with 275 confirmed in just the last week. And the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says it could be just the beginning.
An outbreak of this magnitude that doesn't show any sign of slowing down is of great concern.
Doctors across the country are scrambling to pinpoint what exactly is making people sick. Some have suggested that oil in the lungs is to blame. But a new Mayo Clinic study says they're seeing toxic chemical burns in patients' lungs.
The type of chemical injury that we see very closely resembles the type of injury you see when a patient is involved in an industrial accident where there's a chemical spill.
And with the majority of patients reporting that they used products containing THC, the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana, counterfeit vapes are also causing concern. The vaping industry itself claims the recent outbreak is tied to tainted, tampered cartridges. Tests commissioned by NBC News of illicit THC cartridges recently revealed that they contain high levels of pesticides and myclobutanol, a fungicide that can turn into hydrogen cyanide when burned, as well as vitamin E.
You just don't know what you're getting. And all this stuff in here certainly is deadly.
A dangerous epidemic still spreading and still claiming lives. State health authorities tell NBC News that they're now investigating more than 1,300 more cases. So it's very likely these numbers will only rise. Savannah?
And I know there's some new polling out there, Americans weighing in on whether or not vaping should be regulated more. What does it say?
Yeah, that's right. This new USA Today poll finds that a majority of Americans do support some kind of regulation when it comes to vaping. That can include requiring that companies list ingredients and health risks on the labels and not allowing anyone under the age of 21 to purchase e-cigarettes. Just under half the respondents were in favor of banning all vaping products altogether.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. And we have breaking news overseas this morning. Hong Kong will ban face masks at public demonstrations as part of emergency powers announced today. The ban carries a penalty of up to 1 year in jail. Protesters who took to the streets again today have used masks to shield their identities and protect themselves from tear gas. Anti-government demonstrators have gripped the territory for months, plunging it into its biggest political crisis in decades.
Victims of the 2017 Las Vegas massacre have agreed to settle their lawsuits with the hotel where America's deadliest mass shooting took place. MGM Resorts International could pay up to $800 million to the victims. 58 people died. Hundreds of others were hurt at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. Victims say MGM failed to protect them when a gunman opened fire from his suite at the Mandalay Bay Resort. The money will be allocated late next year.
Also this morning, we are learning more now about the passengers and crew who were killed in that fiery crash of a vintage military plane. It happened in Connecticut. Many of those on board were history buffs and aviation enthusiasts, and we're learning more about them today. NBC's Ron Allen joins us with the latest on the investigation as well. Ron, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah, from Bradley International, where several witnesses have told investigators the B-17 appeared to have engine trouble right from the start, with mechanics apparently trying to fix a problem as passengers were boarding an old warplane that first flew half a century ago.
For 59-year-old Robert Rydell, flying aboard a B-17 was a lifelong dream.
Everything about World War II he loved.
He and wife Deborah, both World War II history buffs, even planned to celebrate their upcoming 60th birthdays in Normandy, scene of the D-Day invasion. Before takeoff, Deborah noticed mechanics working on the plane.
At one point, even the pilot came out and did something to the plane. In the meantime, my husband was texting me saying this doesn't bode well.
He also texted this picture. Then minutes after takeoff, as the plane tried to make an emergency landing, it slammed back onto the runway in a ball of fire.
I kept saying this can't be happening, this cannot be happening. It just seemed impossible that that plane just crashed before my eyes.
Robert, one of 7 killed, including the pilot, Mac McCauley, heard last week on the Airplane Geeks podcast talking about flying the B-17.
It must be a blast for you to fly this aircraft.
Yeah, I fly this thing every day.
Do you?
Every single day, at least once.
Also on board, 66-year-old Gary Mazzoni, a retired police captain. His son Brian, devastated.
I just feel cheated. You can answer a million questions. My dad's not coming back. I don't care. I don't care how it happened. I don't care what happened. I don't care why it happened. It just happened.
NTSB reports reveal 21 previous accidents involving World War II-era bombers since 1982, with 23 fatalities, as grieving families cling to memories.
He was an amazing father, grandfather, husband. That was the person he was, and everybody believes that.
State officials here in Connecticut now say they are concerned about that accident and fatality record for vintage warplanes over the years, and now question whether the B-17 should have been flying here near an international airport in the first place. Hoda, Savannah.
All right, Ron, thank you very much.
We do have a lot more to get to this morning, including some good news, some drama on a Florida highway when a couple was pulled over for speeding. So there was a reason they were going so fast. The driver was trying to get his pregnant wife to the hospital, and that baby was not going to wait. As NBC's Carrie Sanders tells us, that's when a local deputy, made a very special delivery.
Getting pulled over for speeding in the middle of the night is always nerve-wracking.
Officer, you have the right to stop me. I'm not going to even lie. Let's go.
But for one driver, those lights and sirens were a godsend.
Oh my goodness, baby coming out. Look, baby coming out.
The driver doing 63 where the limit was 45 was in a rush for a reason.
The baby's coming out, so I started speeding, trying to get to the hospital.
Veteran Florida deputy Robert Pounds jumped into action, grabbing gloves and a clean blanket from his patrol car.
Here we go.
Laid the blanket down and wasn't too long after that, was holding a newborn baby in my hands.
Congratulations, you got a little girl.
He'd trained for moments like this, but in 26 years on the job, Deputy Pounds had never delivered a baby until now.
I guess you could say it was just my training that kicked in. The baby did most of the work, we'll put it that way.
It went so well after the delivery, Dad and Deputy paused for a roadside selfie.
Everybody afraid to get pulled over, but this time I was happy. Here she goes.
And that newborn baby girl's name? Layla Robert Jean Lewis. Her middle name honoring the deputy who helped bring her into the world.
Congratulations.
For today, Carrie Sanders, NBC News.
I love everything about that.
The middle name.
I know, it's so cute.
You have yourself a baby. He was so casual.
I know, and he was trained to deliver a baby like 26 years ago. Can you? What did you learn 26 years ago that you could pull off today?
Right, exactly.
It's crazy.
Congrats to
Want
them.
to talk football? Yep. Oh wow, what a game! Incredible last night between the Seahawks and the Rams. Okay, first of all, take a look at this unbelievable catch by Seattle's Tyler Lockett. Somehow he hauls it in the back of the end zone, drags his toes inbounds for the touchdown. Seattle takes a 1-point lead. Now it's cut to the end of the game. Rams had a chance to win it with a 44-yard field goal. Take a look.
There's the unit. Zerline missed it.
Oh, I mean, well, it sailed right a little bit, just by a hair.
Yeah.
Just a hair, but enough. Seattle holds on, wins it 30-29. I always feel so bad for the guy and like under all that pressure in that moment.
I cannot believe that. Wow. Sorry, Rams fans there. All right, we're going to bring in Mr. Roker.
It's almost like we watched the game.
I'm telling you.
We did the most important parts.
I'm going to have a suit made of that Seahawks material. That looks great. Woohoo! Anyway, let's show you what we have going on today. We've got fall weather in the northwest, cool weather returning to the northeast, but record highs still hanging in there. About a dozen cities could break records today, from New Orleans, Meridian, Montgomery, Atlanta, Wilmington, Asheville, Gainesville, all the way to Tallahassee. Take a look at Saturday. The area shrinks down just a little bit, but still going to be warm from San Antonio, maybe a record in Dallas, Meridian, Nashville, Tallahassee, Tampa, and New Orleans looking pretty warm. Oh, wait, just a second, though. First of all, look at what happens on Saturday. A little fake there, I'm sorry. Temperatures are going to be a little bit below average. In fact, Saturday morning, we got about 21 million people under a freeze watch warning or a frost advisory, as temperatures will be awfully chilly Saturday morning, freezing in Alpena, 46 in New York City. Boston will be 41, and D.C. a temperature of 50. We're going to get to your local forecast coming up in the next 30 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce me. Here I come. Yeah. Here I go. Woo! Ain't no time for imitation. Ain't no
Look at these numbers out there. 40s in a lot of spots. Lapeer 46, 46 Oxford, Emmett 48. Low 50s, a little closer to downtown through most of Wayne County, including 52 in Ann Arbor, 50 in Monroe. We're looking at upper 40s to low 50s still through the 8 o'clock hour. North winds keep cooler air coming and a little more cloud cover. Could see a little spritz or two in our north zone, but just shy of 60.
All right, Al, thank you. Coming up, Lester Holt's exclusive interview with Amanda Knox.
A lot of people are confused about why I'm not just burying my head in the ground and disappearing and crying.
Why she says it's time to reclaim her story 8 years after her acquittal for murder in Italy.
Plus, an eye-opening today exclusive. Keir Simmons with a rare look inside China's secret detention camps. The country being accused of wiping out an entire culture. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Today at 5. So you've got your kid in sports or music, the time,
Practice about like 2 hours a day.
the money, the commitment.
I think sports are really important.
But
What happens when they want to drop out? It just didn't feel fun at the time.
what's a parent to do? Let them quit? Force them to stick it out?
The biggest thing we deal with in athletics right now is having kids deal with pressure.
See what the experts have to say. You may be in for a big surprise. Today on Local 4 News at 5.
One day, Saturday. Don't miss the Art Van Furniture Fall Home Sale with an extra 20% off store-wide. Sofas $5.99, accent chairs $99, 5-piece dining sets $8.49. Shop stitched leathers, curves and soft edges, retro-inspired accents, and burnished metals. With 0% financing for 50 months. If it's in for fall, it's in Art Van Furniture. The Fall Home Sale. Shop it Saturday. Whatever you want.
Not giving in. Nobody's life's easy, and sometimes life presents us with mountains that seem too high to climb. But that's when I dig in, when push comes to shove.